Welcome to sleepingdog.video. Today I wanted to show off another print I did with the Sunlu HS for high-speed filament. Okay, now this is another print. This is part of the support structure. See, even that welded a little bit. It's not impossible to get off, but it isn't as much of a breeze to get off as the regular PLA that I've tried and generic Petg filament. So this, let's see if you can see this. So that is a lot of little supports. I think I have to buy another one of my deburring tools because I misplaced my other one, which would make it easier, but these are a little hard to get off. And I'm going to show you two prints. So this is one print, and then is the other print. This is both printed on the same build platform. So this is a large print, because I was able to print two of these just barely on the same build platform on a diagonal. I had to really work with it to get it to line up before Bamboo would allow it to print. And then I think it's not bad. One, it ran out of white filament because I only got 4 rolls of the Sunlu Petg-HS for high-speed filament. And this filament also wasn't dried. It was just straight out of the package, and I was printing with it. So I printed one other part with just the white. Then the white ran out, as you can see here. Then I find out that this is still pretty strong. So I just took the, even though they say that sometimes color makes a difference in strength and everything in your parts, so if you get different colors, to set them up separately. That's a good idea, but sometimes if you have different colors, but you don't have enough filament of the same color, that you can just tell the AMS that this black is actually white, and they'll just continue printing it with the white filament settings. So now what I wanted to show is, again, you see how this printed like this on the top, and you see how this broke off again, just like, I don't know if I had it printed like this, maybe like this, but because of the round over part of the tree supports, this one seems to either be a little weaker, because this is the second time this particular part of the hinge broke off in the same place, and I'm not sure why. Now this was printed at this time 230 to first layer and 260 all the way up, and it's still printing. Can you see that? Now I don't know, that's why I'm confused on whether that's considered a top layer and why it's printing like that. It's nice and solid, and if you like the look, I guess it's not bad, but it's not printing what I consider a top layer. So I don't know if I have to add 2 more layers to the top layer, or what exactly, why I was doing that. Now this was at 1.66% over 100% for the ludicrous mode. So this was all printed in ludicrous mode, because what's the purpose we want to know about? I wouldn't pay the extra money for high-speed filament if I'm not going to print in ludicrous mode, correct? If I'm going to print in sport mode or standard mode, save the money, and if you can get it for $10 a roll, or $11 a roll, and print it then in sport mode, because it seems like regular PETG generic works just fine at 255 degrees C and at sport mode. So that does. Now that came off pretty easily. So there are, let me point out, it's still, maybe I'm going to try drying this filament and then printing with it again. It could be that I need a different color. I'm going to do it with black until that runs out and then change to like blue filament. So take that into account, but that shouldn't affect too much the outcome. As you can see, the black and the white just mesh together just perfectly. So that shouldn't have as much of an effect as one would think. So in my talk. So, but you can see this is kind of a blemish. It isn't fully stringing or anything. I got down here, I think down here that I took off, I got spaghetti print started down here somewhere, either here or here. And because there was a little bit of spaghetti print, it detected it. He detected it 3 times throughout the print. But every time I checked the printer through the cloud from my brother's house, it was continuing the print. So normally, when I first had spaghetti, when I first got the printer, it would pause the print every time. This one didn't pause the print. So I don't know what issue that is, if there's an issue, why it didn't pause the print like it should. Maybe it's not supposed to, because I realize I'm a newbie to the X1 Carbon and Bamboo Studio. So it could be I just don't understand it. So if somebody wants to point out why when I had spaghetti print detected, it gave me the message, but it didn't pause the print. And that's what I would like to know, why it didn't pause the print. And what setting I may have not had engaged or enabled, or if it was just that it doesn't work right, or what the issue is. This down here, it also welded a little bit too much. I was able to peel it off, and I actually jammed my diag pliers into that I used to call wire cutters growing up, that into the parts, and then these parts down here came off, and then it's really rough though, so I'm going to have to take my deburring tool, and I can't find mine, so unless I can find it, I'm going to have to just buy another one online, either at Amazon or Temu. They're not too expensive, so I'll probably just today order another one. Now you can see this part of the print, something here, I don't know, dirty or something, here you can kind of see. And then here, most of the print printed okay. You can see this is the top part. So you can see how there's, it's not really that there's any layer shifting. It's just the way it was melting the filament, I think, even at 260C. Because coming up here, looking back on it, it was still a little bit, I think, what I call the term crumbly filament. That's usually either too much moisture or printing at too low of a temperature. So that's also zits can be either too low of a temperature or not calibrated or need to be drying more for zits. Now this, you see how it's uneven, it looks like it's a little divots in it, like that looks like it's a divot. Now it's not, I don't feel any fibers, so it really grabbed on each other. And on the even dry, I mean cooled down my bed, I have the gold colored PEI textured plate that came with my printer. So even that on the bed, even when it was cooled down, it stuck a little harder. It wasn't impossible to get off or anything, but it stuck much harder than PLA, and I think even generic PETG to my bed. So because PLA and other prints, when it cooled completely, it was like it totally released it to the point if a gust of wind, it would have fell over the parts. This here to the bed, a little bit stronger, not enough to pull the texture off the sheet and damage the sheet. But look at this. See how rough and terrible and rough around here, and just a lousy, terrible print. It adhered strongly together, but it was, and I might have done, I can't remember if I did 2 wall loops or 4 wall loops. So I could have done 4 wall loops, which is going to make it a little bit stronger. I think it's going to make it a little bit stiffer from rods that I printed out. I printed one out at 7 or 6 wall loops, which is recommended by the strength profile in Bamboo Studio. So 7 wall loops, but less infill. And what happened is it was stiffer, but I don't think it was necessarily stronger. So take that into account and make your own, and take that as just a judgment, and then go out and try for yourself and see if you agree in your situation or not. It's also moisture in your air and where you live. But you can see here, it's just so darn rough, the top surface. It's not the beautiful prints. If I can show my other one. You see here, this was either this was with PLA, white PLA, and I was trying to remember which print this is because I've done so many iterations. So this was white PLA. I don't think it was with the high speed, but this is how I'm going to tilt for my handle. This was printed on my, see all the layer lines? This was with the 0.8 nozzle on my bed slinger, and I thought this came out relatively well. Very strong, but you see how this is compared to Bamboo Studio at 0.24 layer height is crappy compared, but at least it was a prototype model, so it was okay. This, as you can see, is just so smooth, and this is so smooth down. I'm trying to orient it, but right here, so smooth. This was a little tough on the where it went too close. This I printed differently. So you see this, because I oriented it on the bed differently, this didn't break these parts. So this would have broken probably if I would have oriented trying to demonstrate the tree supports. So if the tree supports went up here and tried to do this, it's either printing this because of the tree supports in contact, that it's printing this too weak. Right there, I'm not sure. That's my hypothesis, but that's not, I'm not sure about that. But that's one reason why it could happen. This down here was a little rough, but not horribly bad. But the overall, this was just so great. And you see here, this printed with the top surface. So it's like I'm trying to find out if the orientation of the tree supports, because look at that, and then now look at this one. And look at that, and then I'm going to show you the other one. You see those lines and everything? It's smooth enough, but it looks like this is smooth surface. and all the way around. Even the bottom is smooth, smooth surface. And I'm trying to figure out why this came out so smooth, but this came out looking like there was no top layer on here. Like this side came out quite smooth here. And also this part of the print turned out quite smooth. So I was pretty happy with that part. This side, pretty smooth. It's just when you get up to here at the top that it turned out just super bad. So I'm trying to figure out if there are two hypotheses or theories. One is that I have too much cooling and I got to adjust, because there is a Sunlu generic, I think, PETG profile, but there's no high-speed profile for this, so I got to make it up on my own. So this, and like just the uneven texture on this part, I don't know if it's too hot up here. I'm thinking doubt that, and right here. Like down here was perfect. Down here, if I scrape off the bottom, it tried to print a bottom layer because it thought it wasn't completely flat, even though I tried to place it completely flat. And then this came out pretty smooth, pretty nice. So it's just in certain areas, again, so you guys can give me comments. This part, I don't understand why it printed like this one time, and it printed, and this is irrespective of the filament, and printed like this smooth. Let me see if I can tilt it. This smooth on another print, on this print, but this kind of crappy on this print. And why it did that, the only thing I can think is the orientation of my supports made it, if the supports come too much contact here, it can't lay down the filament that well, the nozzle, and maybe that's it. So maybe someone can comment on whether they think that's the issue. Otherwise, I don't know why it does that sometimes and the smoother one other times. So that's just what I wanted to show, how this is. Now I'm going to dry the filament, and then I'm going to print it out without changing cooling settings. I'm going to probably print another print. I got the 10 rolls, 5 of each, black and white, of regular Sunlu PETG, and I've dried that filament, and I'm going to print another part of this project in with the dried filament in regular and probably in sport mode and not ludicrous mode, and at 255C, and then see how that print comes out. I'm hoping or thinking it should come out perfect. So, and then I'm going to dry this filament, the HS version, and then I'm going to try without changing the cooling. If I change the cooling, which is what I really want to do, as well as dry it, I won't know if the cooling or the drying was the issue. I'll know maybe one or the other was the issue if it comes out better, but I won't know which one it was. So I've got to dry it, to try printing again, and then if I have enough filament left, if it doesn't turn out perfect, then turn the cooling down and see if that affects anything. And then maybe I can get to the bottom of why this is just so crappy up here and was so beautiful pretty much down here. So I think upping the temperature got it more beautiful down here, all the way up to about here. And I don't know if these are layer lines or layer shifts, but in any case, 2 or 3 times during the print, there was, if you can see a little line, see that little line right here. So I don't know if that's a layer shift or a layer line, but this is in, again, ludicrous mode. This has been John for sleepingdog.video.